Alright, this is a mathematical literacy past exam paper which was written back in November 2022. So this section deals with what? Exchange rates. So let's get away with it. Ryan is a South African citizen who owns a company in South Africa and wants to buy shares in a company in Canada. Table 6 shows the exchange rate for 5 countries on 17 March 2022. Table 6 exchange rate for 5 countries on 17 March. Currency, we've got Euro, British Pound, Japanese Yen, Canadian Dollar, and Russian Ruble. And then here it's written units per ZAR. Now we are told that this units per ZAR simply means that 1 rand can buy how many euros, 1 rand can buy how many British pounds, and so forth and so forth. So here we are shown that 1 rand can buy 0.060673 of the euros. 1 rand can buy 0.050862 of the British pound. But 1 rand can buy 6.97 Russian rubles. And 1 rand can buy 7.9596 Japanese yen rather. So you can see that as far as euros, British pound, and Canadian dollar, the rand, 1 rand, it's like 8 cents, 5 cents, and 6 cents. So for the 2 European countries and this one North American country, the rand is weak. But against the Russian ruble and against the Japanese yen, the rand is strong. Then we come ZAR per unit. Now this 1 euro can buy 16 rands for 48 cents. The British pound can buy 1 British pound can buy 19 rands 66 cents. But 1 Japanese yen can buy 12 cents of our own money. The Canadian dollar can 1 Canadian dollar can buy 11 rands 78 cents. Then Russian ruble, 1 Russian ruble can buy 14 cents of the rand. Now, note, a share is a unit of ownership of a company. All right. When somebody goes and buys shares to become an owner, a part owner of the company, that's the definition. Now, use table 6 to answer the questions that follow. Number 1, identify the currency which is the weakest against the rand. If I come here, the currency which is the weakest against the rand, here, the Japanese yen. Why? 1 rand can buy 7 rand 95 cents, right? So the Japanese yen is the answer to 5.2.1. So we now write that our answer is Japanese yen. That's our answer. Then they say, show how the Russian ruble of 0.143 ZAR per unit was determined. Remember, we said that 1 Russian ruble can buy 14 cents of our money. So this is what happens. R1 of our own money, we were told that it buys 6.9748. So 1 rand buys 6.97481. And now 1 Russian ruble here, we've been given this figure of what? 0.143373. We are not going to use it here. We're going to say 1 Russian ruble can buy how many rands? So this left side is for rands, this right side is for the Russian rubles. So here, because we do not know, we put the letter X like that. Then when we are done, we do what we call cross multiplication. We are saying this X will multiply with this 6.97481 and this one will multiply with this one. So when I say 1 times 1 is equals to here 6.97481 times what? Times X. Remember, X is representing what? It's representing the number or the money that 1 Russian ruble is going to buy. At this time, we do not know. Now, when I say 1 times 1, I get what? I get 1, which is equals to. Now here I say 6.97481x. When you multiply numbers with and letter, it becomes numbers and a letter. But remember, we are looking for x, so we must divide by this number which is here. We say 6,97481, and on this other side, because this is an equation, what we have done on the right hand side we must do on the left hand side. So we divided by this, we must also divide by that. 6,97481. Now this 6 comma something divides with that 6 comma something. Then we say x is equal to, now we are going to put this into a calculator. What is our calculator? There is our calculator. So I press 1, I say over 6,97481, and then voila, I get 0,1433, and it's the same 0,143373. As a matter of fact, the examiner rounded off because this, as you can see, it continues. So I saw x is equals to 0,143373. That's how we do. But they did not ask us in terms of x, so we say 1 Russian ruble is equals to 0,143373 rands here. Then we are done with this question. I hope that makes sense and you're able to understand it. All right. From there, we go to the next question. So we are done with this question 5.22. All right. Now they say, Ryan decides to invest 1,230,000 in shares in a Canadian company. Convert 1,230,000 into Canadian dollar. Now, let's come back again. Where is our Canadian dollar? We were told that the Canadian dollar is stronger because our 1 rand buys 8 cents of the Canadian dollar, but the 1 Canadian dollar buys 11 rands 78 cents. So if we are to convert, Ryan is trying to protect his money by buying into a currency which is stronger than the rand. Now they want to know the 1,230,000 here, how much would it be as a Canadian dollar? All right, so I'm going to erase here so that we may start work with the calculations. What do I know so far? What I know is, for this to be simpler for you, if you buy 1 rands, if you use 1 rands, your 1 rand buys you how many Canadian dollars? It buys you 0,084845. If you are to buy another rand, which is now 2 rands, here we will be saying 0,08485 multiplied by 2, 0,084845, right? We multiply by 2 to get how many cents? It will be 16 something cents, 16 cents approximately, right? So now in this case, what are we going to do? Ryan is going to invest 1,230,000 in a Canadian company, which means that here we are going to multiply this 1,230,000 by how much? By 0,084845 here, and then we get the figure to say how many Canadian dollars is he going to buy. So there we go with our calculator. We now say 1,230,000, 1,230 multiplied by 0,084845, which is equals to, we've got 104,359 rands 35 cents. So you're a millionaire in South Africa, and then in Canada you won't be a millionaire. will be a centime. So Canadian dollar, CAD, 104,359.35. That is the amount you would have invested in buying the shares with the 1,230,000 rands. And just like that, we are done. That's how you convert it. All right. We go to the next question. Give one reason why you would motivate Ryan to invest in a Canadian company. Okay. You know, they say do not put your eggs in one basket. All right. Meaning to say, if there is something wrong with your country, if there is a political turmoil, and your money, all of it is in South Africa, then your money will burn. You will lose all of your money. But if some of your money is in what? In other countries, such as Canada, even though you're losing money in South Africa, you could be making money in Canada. So that is what we call diversifying. Diversify your income. You mustn't receive income from one thing or from one source. We all saw what happened during COVID. If someone was an employee and their only way of making money was through going to a job, it was difficult to survive during lockdown, right? So diversification, diversifying your funds is a good thing. Also another thing, Canada has got a stable political system compared to South Africa. So our price of the rand, if the commodities, your gold and other minerals, if they are affected, if people are not really buying them, then our economy gets affected. So that would be one of the reasons which I would tell Ryan to invest in Canada. Either of the two reasons. All right. Done. Then now we are told on the last question, 5.2.5. After 2 years and 8 months, Ryan sold his shares and received a final amount of 1,529,360. In South Africa, Ryan would have received an interest rate of 8.1% compounded annually for 2 years and 8 months. Ryan stated that he earned more than 14,000 return on his foreign investment compared to a potential South African investment. Verify showing all calculations whether Ryan's statement is valid. So what they want us to do here is to calculate that is Ryan telling the truth that because he invested his money in Canada, he got 14,000 rands, or he got actually a return of more than 14,000 rands than had he placed his money in a South African company. And if that company, his money never touched it. Compounded annually, it simply means what? It simply means that if you put 10 rands and it's growing at 10% per year, when year one ends, my 10 rands would have earned me how much? So let's do it this way. If I put 10 rands and it's growing at 10% per year, my 10 rand after 1 year, it would have grown to 1 rand. But I'm putting my 10 rands, I'm investing it using the compound interest for 3 years. So this is year number 1. When I put for year number 2, when year number 2 starts, guess what happens? The interest from last year, we now say the principal, the amount which you initially invested, plus the 1 rand interest that you made last year. So when you start year number 2, you no longer have 10 rand in your investment, you now have 11 rands, right? Now we're going to calculate the what? The 10% on this 11 rands here. And when you calculate 10% of 11 rands, it gives you 1 rand 10 cents. 1 rand 10 cents. When you go to year number 3, now what do? Now you say 11 rands plus 1 rand 10 cents, which will give you what? 12 rand 10 cents. Now you calculate 10% on this 12 rand 10 cents, right? What is 10% of that? Oh, wait a minute, not 12 rand 10 cents. I made a mistake here. Oh no, I didn't make a mistake. 10% of this, 10 over 100 multiplied by 12.10, it gives us what? 1 rand 21 cents. 1 rand 21 cents, right? So do you see, you started with an interest of 1 rand, year 1, year 2, 1 rand 10 cents, year 3, 1 rand 21 cents. So by the time you receive all of your money at the end of the year number 3, now you say 12 rand 10 cents plus the 1 rand 21 cents, then you add. So now when I say 1 rand 21 cents plus 12 rand 10 cents, what do I get? I get 13 rands 31 cents. So after 3 years, we've got 30 rand 31 cents. Compound interest, it means that you are not taking out the money. The money remains there and your money is growing on the money. Interest on interest. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate. This method which I used here is the method which you are going to use to calculate whether Ryan's statement is true that he made more than 14,000 rands by investing in a Canadian company. Okay, so what was the principal? Remember, principal is the money which was initially invested. So we go year 1 here. Ryan invested 1,230,000 and we multiply that by 8,1 over 100 to find the interest that Ryan earned on his meter, 1 million. So we now say 1,230,000 multiplied by 1,230,000, yes, there is another 0, multiplied by 8,1 over 100. It gives us 99,630. So the interest from the first year, it's 99,630. Then we say now year number 2, we now say 1,230,000 plus 99,630. We find out how much does he have at the beginning. Now we say that 99,630 plus 1,230,000, which gives us 1,329,000, 1,329,630. Now we calculate the 8,1% on 1,329,630 multiplied by 8,1 over 100, which is equal to. So when we multiply by 8,1 over 100, we get that the interest that he makes in year number 2 is 107,700.03, so 3 cents. Then we go to year number 3. Now we say 1,329,630 plus the interest from the previous year, which is 107,700.03, and then is equal to, we say 1,329,630 rands plus 107,700. It gives us 1,437,330.3 cents. So that's what he has at the beginning of year number 3. Now what are we going to do? We now take that 1,437,333 cents, we multiply it by 8,1 over 100, which is equal to, now we say multiplied by 8,1 over 100, which is equal to it gives us 116,000. The interest is 116,423.7324, like that. Now we take this 1 million, we say 1,437,330 rands 3 cents plus 116,000, the interest in the final. Wait. Ryan invested for 2 years, 8 months. So the third year, it's not a full year. Oh, I almost made a mistake. I forgot. Calculating. You flow and you forget. Sorry about that. So it is 2 years, 8 months. My mind just came back. I saw that I was about to do something wrong. 2 years and 8 months. So what do we do? Still, it's not a train smash, right? So we say 8 months. So it's not a full year. So we take this 1,329,630 plus the 107,703 cents. I erased the figure. That's why I'm rewriting it. 700.03 plus 1,329,630, which is equals to, it's 1,437,330.3 cents. Okay, so now this is what he has at the beginning. We are going to calculate 8% of 1,437,330 rands 0.3 cents. Now we are multiplying at 8.1% over 100, but it is for 8 months, the final period. So here 8 months is not a full year. So now we say 8 over 12. The 12 represents the year, to say that a full year is 12 months. But since it's not the full year, we just want the interest for the 8 months. All right. What do we get? Now, I go and I say, I already have the 1,437,330. So now I multiply it by 8.1%. And I multiply that by 8 over 12 to find the interest for the 12 months. Then the interest for 12 months is 77,615 rands 0.82 and ellipsis. Now I take this figure that he had at the beginning of the year, 8 months before. We now say 1,437,330.3 cents plus the 77,615.82162. I add these two figures. We say plus 1,437,330.03 is equal to. Now we get 1,514,945.852. Now let's go back to the figure that he got. How much did they say? From his investment from Canada, he got 1,529,000. And here, after calculating, if he was earning 8%, compounding annually, it's 1,514,000. So 1,514,000 is less than 1,529,000. But we are not yet done. Remember, they said we should verify. So now we take this figure of 1 million, the investment, the return that he made from Canada. We say 1,529,360 minus this 1,514,945.852, money that he could have potentially made in South Africa. We want to see that whether his statement of saying that he made more than 14,000 is valid, right? So now I say that 1.529360 minus 1514945.852, 1529360, which is equals to, so Ryan and the investment that he made from Canada, it's 14,414 rands point. Now I round off to 2 decimal places, 0.15. So Ryan's statement is true. Why? He made a return of 14,414 rand 15 cents more. So we now say, right, this has got a mark, so you must write this statement. Ryan's statement is true. So out of the 8 marks, this has got 1 mark, this stating whether the statement is true or false. And just like that, we are done. If you found this video to be helpful, please consider subscribing. Please do share with other people that you know, like and comment. Thank you very much.